This video is sponsored by Squarespace. If you need a domain name, a website or an online store, then make your next move with Squarespace. Hello and welcome to another day of landscape photography. Now, after the amazing time I had over the last couple of videos with Morten Hilmer, I've decided today that I'm looking for a bit more solitude. I often feel that in September as the autumn kicks in, the summer holidays and the kids have gone back to school, you spent lots of time with lots of people, so I'm looking for a bit of solitude generally when September hits, and today I've come to find that. And I've come here to Dover Quarter in the Lake District. It's a really isolated little spot and there's hardly anybody here at all. I've seen about 2 people so far and I've been here for a few hours, so I'm getting exactly what I want. You may have seen the little boathouse in the introduction there. I'm going to try and figure out how to put that into an image. I've not shot here before, but I want to get that into a nice image somehow. After that, I'm going to try and find another shot before I head home. I've got a flask of coffee as well. I'm going to sit, enjoy these beautiful surroundings for a little while. Yeah, so let's get started. I need to try and find a slightly different place to shoot this boathouse that's behind you here, but because I'm not quite happy with where I am at the moment, so I'm going to go around and maybe shoot it from the side and do something with long exposure. So let's go. Okay, so I'm set up for the first shot and I've come around to the side of the boathouse because I think it just provides a much better composition than shooting it head on. Head on is quite nice because you've then got that hill behind you, but I just think as the composition as a whole, it's going to be nicer shooting it from the side. Now, I have composed already and I've got the boathouse right down in the bottom right-hand corner of the image, and I'm using the water and the sky almost like negative space to put all the focus down onto the boathouse. And I think that's going to be quite a nice way to show that man-made structure in this quite vast natural environment, and they kind of work really well together. To further exaggerate that feeling though, I'm going to use long exposure, and I want a really long exposure, an extreme long exposure if you will. So I'm going to use a 16 stop filter on the front of the 24 to 70mm lens. I'm in at about 45mm to get the composition that I want. I don't really have anything in the foreground other than the water, but then like I said, the boathouse is just really low in the image. I've then got the hills and those interesting clouds that are going to blend together into a nice ethereal feel. I might give it the black and white treatment, or I might just desaturate a little bit, give it that nice, smooth, sort of pastel-y like feeling. That's what I'm sensing while I'm here. So, long exposure photography, extreme long exposure photography can be quite difficult sometimes. I find it's really helpful just to get a workflow together. And to do that, the first thing you need to do is take the image as if you were doing it just as a normal exposure. For this one, settings-wise, I'm at f8, 1/60th of a second, and ISO 100. That is your base exposure that you're then going to calculate to get your exposure depending on which ND filter you're going to put on. I'm putting a 16 stop ND filter on, so I'm going to take my phone out of my pocket and launch the Photo Pills app, and I'm just going to pop in f8, 1/60th of a second, ISO 100. That's probably going to be too long, yeah, 18 minutes and 12 seconds. I definitely don't want that. So I'm going to up it probably about 400. Yeah, 400, ISO 400 gives me a 4-minute, 33-second exposure, which is just about right with a 16 stop filter on the front. And with the Canon 5D Mark IV, that is going to be absolutely fine. A couple of problems that I've got. Firstly is the sun is coming and going, and I really don't want too much sunlight in this image. If I'm lucky, and it has been doing this, I'll get cloud for the vast majority of the time that it's exposing. Then with just a little bit of sunlight popping through, just to light up the sort of front or the left-hand side as we're looking at it, the front of the boathouse, which is looking directly at the sun, and that'll just give it a nice contrast against the darker shadowy wall that's facing us here. And I really want that to happen. It might then light up the roof a little bit as well and just make the boathouse stand out a little bit more from the background, and we can do things in post-processing to make that happen as well. Right, so once we've got the exposure put into the camera, I need to switch into bulb mode, and then you need to have an intervalometer. This Canon 5D Mark IV has one built in. I've already put 4 minutes and 33 seconds in there. Then it's just a case of covering your viewfinder if you're using a DSLR. If you're using mirrorless, you don't need to worry about that. We then just need to pop our filter on the front. Make sure you have locked it off in manual focus. For this shot, I've just focused right in on the boathouse because that is the main part of the image. It's focused, switch into manual, turn your stabilizer off as well if your lens has one, then just attach the filter to the front. I use screw-in filters just because I prefer it, but you might have a filter system that you can easily add it in. Just screw it on very simply, and then we are ready to shoot. So let's go ahead and expose that now. Right, so that's done. Let's just have a little look at that. Yeah, that is looking really nice. Just straight out of the camera, it's looking good. It has already those kind of pastely blues in it. Nice smooth water as well. And I was quite fortunate, and the sun did come out just for about 30 seconds to light up that boathouse. So I've got a nice contrast on that side wall as I had planned. So yeah, really, really happy with that. I'm looking forward to getting home and post-processing that. How beautiful is this? I've found a lovely little spot for the sunset. I can see my car just down there as well, so it's nice and easy at the end of the day. I've got a nice raised position, mountains behind me, time lapse going, and when the sun dips just below that cloud line there, between there and the horizon, I am going to get some beautiful golden light. That'll be just around the time the golden hour hits as well, striking the mountains behind me there. And I think there's going to be a couple of compositions that are going to work really well. I'm hoping this sort of grassland will get filled up as well. So yes, I think it's going to be great. So I'm going to take half an hour or so, have a cup of coffee and a little something to eat and just enjoy this moment. It's a little bit windy. It's not too cold. Just a lovely moment by myself with you, of course, coming along. Yeah, feels good. And there we go, that light is now looking beautiful. The wind has died down as well, and just a fantastic moment. Photography-wise though, it could be a little bit tricky. There is only really one composition that I'm interested in at the moment. There's probably quite a few compositions, but I'm focused down on just one, and that is the only thing I'm interested in right now. And that is with the 70 to 200 millimeter lens on here. I'm at about 100 millimeters at the moment. I'm at 1/80th of a second, f8 because everything in my image is quite far away from me. I'm at ISO 320 just to keep the shutter speed up a little bit for the sake of this 70 to 200 without the tripod neck on it. So I'm composed in on the main mountain behind me there, the one that's closest, the big one that's close to me. And as the sun is dipping down below that cloud line, I've now got it between the hill and the cloud, and it's just casting some beautiful light over there. So down in the valley, I have some nice trees, green fields. That goes up into a sort of hill that's a bit closer to me, covered in some beautiful autumnal grasses and dying ferns. Dying ferns, actually, close up, they don't look too special at all, but at a distance, they look magical because as they die off, they go a browny, reddy, autumnal colour that just looks fantastic in the distance, in your image. And that's something I can really bring up in post-processing as well. Because as I'm stood here looking at this scene, there is an absolutely autumnal feel to it. And really, if you just took a picture and didn't post-process it at all, it would still be quite greeny, yellowy, because more yellow comes into those greens as the winter gets closer. But by just standing here, the feeling of autumn is definitely there, and that's what I will be putting into this image, if it works, if I get the light, because I want the light to be hitting the peak of that mountain, and at the moment it isn't. So for my image to work, I really need that, because the top of the mountain is capped with a little bit of cloud as well, and if that was getting struck by the light, I think it just could be a really, really nice image. Very straightforward. I'm in, like I said, 100mm, mountainous, classic Lake District scene that I keep talking about. I'm gonna get this shot done though, get it in the can. Hopefully it'll work. If not, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna sit here, or I'm gonna stand here, wait for the light, and then make my way home. Look how dark it is as well, with this light on my face. Just a great evening.
This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Head over to squarespace.com to start your free trial today, and if you like what you see, use the offer code FIRSTMAN to get 10% off your first purchase.